Okay, super. Evening, everybody. And again, I think just very quickly, I think this is probably the most important building block to running a successful business, who you work with. Because don't forget, people actually run a business. Right, so let's go for it in terms of what we did previously. So previously, we went through defining your products, and we had a whole system of how to do that. And this bunch of screens here basically shows you how we came up with that very briefly. And at the end of it, what we ended up with was a phrase that we could call a product. We then turned that phrase into an advert, which we could put on various social media sites and websites and so on. We then went through who you sell to, and that was a process of taking a potential lead through to a customer. And then infrastructure requirements in terms of identifying critical systems and building them. Now, what we're looking at tonight is who can you work with? Now, please, this is not just employees. This is basically everyone who can help you build a business. And that is, it's necessary there for you to build your team. So the people you work with either run or contribute to your systems, which make it possible for your business to run without you. That's extremely important. And people are the reason your business grows and succeeds. Your job is to create a team. High-performing teams don't just happen. You've got to build them. And you've got to provide the values, the goals, the ethics, all that sort of stuff. And you turn everybody near you and around you and everyone you work with into your team. So it's not about networking. It's about building your team and being a team member on other people's teams as well. So what are the elements of creating a team? Well, let's start and have a look at the elements. And I've come up with 9 of them. And these are they. So first one, establish expectations from day one. In other words, don't, and again, let me repeat what I said in an earlier slide. You're not networking, you're building a team. So you need to set up the rules that you want the team to operate under. And remember, when someone joins your team, they don't know what you're about, they don't know what your business is about, they don't know what your team's going to do. So you need to create the information that they can utilize to say, you know what, yeah, I really like this, I want to be part of this, and yeah, I want to share in that culture. I want to be part of that problem-solving team. I want to be able to contribute. And you need to tell people these values. And guys, let me say it again, you're not networking. I get so irritated with people who want to network. There's no such thing as networking. What you need to do is you need to create a team that you can utilize for what you need it for, and you need to contribute to other people's teams with your special skills. Right, the next part of it is respect your team members as individuals. They've each got their own foibles, their own talents, their own skills, their own experience, and don't look at them as people who are just going to do tasks for you. That's nonsense. A really strong team blossoms when you have people who have individual and unique gifts that they bring to the table that can really be surprising once you start working with them. The next one is engender connections within the team. In other words, it's not just about you talking to everybody. It's about everybody in your team talking to each other. And they need to show the respect for other people's talents and skills and so on, and encourage the people within your team to actually feel as if they're sitting next to a partner that's actually contributing as much, if not more, than they are contributing. And it makes a massive difference if you build a team with that level of respect. You also need to practice emotional intelligence. Now, sadly, not many people exhibit emotional intelligence. Basically treat people as human beings. People are different. Some people love to work with other people. Some people love to contribute. Some people love to be told what to do. Other people love competition. So you need to embrace the differences in their working styles and treat them differently from everybody else. There's no ways all of your friends or work colleagues can be spoken to or dealt with in exactly the same way. And then motivate with positivity. Any fool can punish someone for getting something wrong. Now, I perhaps need to add a little extra to this as well. The only way people learn is by making mistakes. And you need to make sure that when someone makes a mistake, they own it, and then they come back and tell everyone what they learned from their mistake and how they're going to avoid it in the future. Making mistakes is going to university. Making mistakes is how you learn really quickly. And let me give you the reverse of that. If you've got a team that doesn't make mistakes, your team is either not innovating or you've got people that are so clever that they're unbelievable and they don't make mistakes. And that's never true. And again, here, positive reinforcement is far more productive to motivate a team than trying to shame someone. Then the most important part of the whole thing, communicate, 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 and communicate for the hell of it. Always assume that people want to know what's going on. And if you sense they're unhappy and but they aren't saying anything, and you don't say anything, and you don't tell them what's going on, etc., that just leads to everybody assuming all sorts of things, and they walk away. So you really need to keep your communication top of mind all the time. This is what's happening. This is why I'm doing it. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think that approach will work? Etc., etc., etc. You've really got to put in that sort of effort with you. Then look for ways to reward good work. And funny enough, this is not about rewarding people with money or holidays or all that sort of stuff. It's about actually trusting them. And showing your gratitude and your trust to them by giving them more responsibility, by asking their opinion, by allowing them authority to do stuff. That's the reward that people are looking for. You know, anybody can say, okay, here's an extra couple of $100, etc. Thank you very much. You did a good job. That's almost a slap in the face to quite a lot of people, especially people that are capable. And you need to find lots of ways to show people that they're appreciated, and particularly appreciated for their skill, for their contribution, for what they know, for what they can add, for all that sort of stuff. Then you need to make sure that diversity is part of what you build. If you build a team of accountants, every answer is going to be as if you did it if you're an accountant. You have got to build a team that is diverse as possible. That includes ages, it includes sexes, it includes cultural differences, it includes race differences, it includes everything. Because I promise you, they see things you will never see. And if you diversify, you come back with answers that make a hang of a lot more sense than if you had a bunch of accountants or lawyers or engineers sitting together and brainstorming something. And then lastly, find a team you trust. Now, what that means is find people that are capable of looking after themselves and are in a position to actually make you feel proud to be that they are part of your team. And don't forget as well, you're investing time and resources into this person. So Look at their longevity. Look at how they can stick around, how they can grow, what they can contribute, how they can become more important as a team member within the team that you're building. Let's go back to the 9 things. They're the 9 things I spoke about. And let me say again, one of the most important comments I made here is you are not networking. You are building a team and you are making yourself available to be on other people's teams. I find that when people network, they think it's a passive exercise. When you're building a team, it's not passive. You have to positively go and create it. You have to give people tasks. You have to set goals. You have to show them what's coming. They have to benefit from that. They have to be able to contribute. I cannot stress enough, this is the most important part of creating a successful business. Okay, your turn. Lots of questions, I hope. Can I just jump on your point about networking in the traditional format? I've found that in a lot of organizations where people claim they're networking, what they're actually trying to do is to sell to everyone else in the room. And I find that incredibly offensive. I would really like to get involved and contribute to other people's projects, not sell to them. And I think that's the difference I'm trying to highlight here.
Yeah, and I just, throughout this your presentation, I saw the parallels of basically how you and I started to work together on developing the Gig Institute. If I can maybe just reflect, and you can come in there as well. But we were introduced, we knew of each other, but we were introduced by a mutual friend. And I went and I saw a need, and I went to that friend and I shared my need. And I saw a gap in my whole building the gig movement. And the friend took the time to actually came and spend the morning with me. And I went into detail with what's my vision, where do I want to take this whole thing. And I thought he would have been the person. But as he understood my vision, he then said, you know what, I'm not the person you're looking for. You need to speak to Gavin. And I think within the next couple of days, we connected and we sat down, and it was love at first sight, because prior to me starting Gig, I only started Gig in 2008. But many of the principles, he just didn't call it Gig at that stage. He had, he just thought of building for the future. But he was already doing in practice what I envisioned we will one day do as a group. And that's where the whole thing started. So it was the expectations, but also I think the of the cause and the buying into the cause. That was the key there. Gavin, I don't know if you want to just comment on that.
No, I think, again, as you said, that's more or less it. You had codified and written a book about stuff I'd been practicing for years. And I had focused on business, and yours, funny enough, focused on the individual. And there was a tremendous synergy there. And the thinking was more or less the same as well. So I think that's why we got together.
And maybe just 2 words that also came out to define this whole thing of who can help you. Often, when you start your business for the first time, you don't know who can help you because you don't know your own business yet. And as you almost fail forward by trying things and it fails, you slowly start to learn, what I need here is someone who's good at this or good at that. And the 2 extra words I want to throw in here is collaboration and strategic partnerships. And I just will give my definition, and Gavin, you can then add your definition, and then we open the floor again. But collaboration for me is knowing what you're good and strong at and how I can add value. And Gavin made a strong point of find out how you can help other people, then they will reciprocate. But that's what I see as collaboration. And then strategic partnerships means we don't necessarily have to, you don't have to join my business and I don't have to join your business, but let's find ways to partner in ways that would be more beneficial than if I was just a client of yours. So you want to add to my definitions there, Gavin?
No, I think that's a good way to look at it. And I think as well that one mustn't forget the earlier sessions I did, you need a system to look after that. You know, you forget who does what when you get busy. You forget what people are capable of fairly quickly. If you're basically chasing your tail or chasing a client or chasing income or whatever. And you need a system that actually allows you to reflect back on, hang on a second, let me sit back and think about this, who can help with this? And you need to be able to pick names up and their contact details very quickly. So don't underestimate the value and the benefit of a really good system.
Daphne, I see you've made a comment there in the chat box to say, yes, collaboration and strategic partnerships help to grow business. Would you like to elaborate a bit more and give maybe an example of your own life?
Yes. Good evening, Jasper and everyone. I've realized that when somebody thinks that they can just run their own business on their own successfully and grow it, usually you find that there are limitations. And I found that whenever I've gone into collaboration or strategic partnerships with others, I found that they are able to help me where I don't have the ability to do something. Like in Women Business Achievers, which is an organization to reach out to women-owned businesses, mainly in South Africa. I found that the two people that I work with in the form of collaboration, I found that we are three different people. One is very good with strategy and also with the technical element of running the business. The other one is good with networking, which is important, especially when we look at women empowerment. And then the other one is good with events, you know, coordinating events, hosting events, and so on. So I do believe, yes, we need a lot of collaboration and understanding that when we are more, we are able to reach more people, you know, than when I'm just alone trying to do everything and trying to run the business, trying to reach out to prospective clients and trying to do events as well. So yes, yeah, thank you.
Daphne, I think you raised a very important point. But there's something I think you need to add to that. You need to go and find and develop the collaboration and the cooperation. You can't hope it's going to happen. You've actually got to go fetch it.
Okay.
Daphne, yeah, just
Yes.
on that point, you know, I know you and Lorato are now working together and collaborating on that vision that you have for empowering women. But maybe just share with us how you and Lorato got together, because I don't think you've been working together for many years now.
We were introduced by Lisa because I had been talking with Lisa about empowering women in South Africa. And Lisa and another friend approached me to say, you know, maybe we must establish Heritage Circle. At that time, we didn't have a name. I think it was 2 years ago. So when we couldn't pull it off for some reason, then Lisa shared the vision with Lerato, and Lerato was very much interested, and Lerato wanted to run with the vision. And Lisa then said to Lerato, you need to meet with Daphne. And then that's when I met Lerato, because I didn't know her before, but it's just working out very well. we the first meeting we had, it was just amazing because we found that we have the same passion, and both of us, we are the type of people that are willing to put in the work, sometimes without even seeing any reinvestment or anything yet, but we run with the vision, knowing that it will come into fruition. We will see the results if we follow the proper advices, like, for example, just by guiding us and so on. So I met Lerato through someone else, but when we shared the vision and everything, we were in agreement. So it wasn't difficult for us to work together.
Thanks, Daphne. And Lerato, since we Skinner about you, and I know you're on the forum, I mean, this last couple of months and even a year has been, when did you hear about GIG and then you became involved, and a lot of things are happening very fast for you, and it's all about, well, first of all, you embracing collaboration with different people, but you're also quite clear on what you want. So why don't you just add to what Daphne has said there?
Yes, indeed. This is such a great platform for us to talk about these issues, because we don't really get the chance to. As Daphne has already alluded, I met with her after I had established Heritage Circle and through LISA. And I have been collaborating with so many people. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming because everyone is different, and you have to be in that mode to receive people the way they are, and to try and, in the midst of that, make sense of what they mean to you, because not everybody means everything to you. People mean different things to you, and also at different times. So to juggle that whole collaborative thing, it can be very overwhelming. However, it is possible. And right now, I'm not only collaborating locally, but also internationally. So that has added to the whole space that I'm in. Because I believe, like as Gavin has already said, I believe I can add value. Just in the past week, 2 people that I spoke to, one locally, one internationally, already they were able to say, come, we want you to help us do this session, do this workshop, go with us to the property developers to speak about a specific project. So for me, that's reward enough, because I can see that collaboration works. And also agreeing with Gavin, networking is not a passive thing. It should not be. It should not just be networking, but it should lead to something. After you have met the person, after you have spoken from your different perspectives, after you have agreed or reached common ground, you ought to be able to come out of that with something, with either a project or a collaboration or a strategic partnership or whatever the case may be. Some, like I have said before, some people that you meet are not for today. They are for tomorrow, not to be scoffed at, not to be looked down at. If you cannot see anybody's use in your life at that moment, it does not mean they will never be of use. And also, I have learned that even if I meet someone, for example, I'm in the women empowerment space, but I have history, I have experience in other things. I have a background in things that people don't necessarily know of. So if we don't take the opportunity to get to know the person for who they are, and where they are coming from, we might be able to miss out on those important collaborations and also on those important strategic partnerships. And right now, there is one lady in the States, in Los Angeles, who's saying to me, let's start a joint venture. Let's start something together. And those are the things that you don't look down on. You embrace, even if you cannot fully make sense of what has to happen, but you embrace and you try and work through those kind of strategic partnerships for the future. And because I represent the women, I don't represent myself as Heritage Circle, I always want to remind myself that I cannot just shut doors down. I have to be open-minded. I have to be able to look from different points or perspectives, and truly that works because I've just stayed on my toes, because anything is possible. And if I can bring all that work to fruition on behalf of the women, that is enough for me. So this is a really an awesome thing. Thank you, Gavin, for the information tonight. Thank you, Jasper.
Thank you. Gavin, you want to add something there?
Yeah, I think while you were talking, there was something that certainly I should have included in the presentation. And that is, how do you tell people you're available? And I find there's a very important sentence. And the sentence goes like this: how can I help? The second you let people know that you're willing to help, all sorts of interesting things come out of their mouth. Again, you know, it's not about trying to sell to people. It's about seeing how you can contribute. And that simple sentence, how can I help, makes a huge difference.
Something there?
Yeah, Lebo, nice comment as well. I think one of the things that you need to try and achieve is that when you leave that team, that when everybody thinks about you, they turn around and say, I liked working with them because they made me feel good. And in other words, if you can engender pride in people, in what they do and what they're capable of doing, you leave quite an impression. Remember as well, your team doesn't have to be forever. Your team can be for a single project. Your team can be, or someone can be a member of your team for a very small aspect of a project for a short period of time. So don't forget, a team, you can get substitutes, you can replace people, you can do all that sort of stuff, because you only need people for a period of time. You do not need people forever. People you need forever are called friends, not team members.